Speed King Donald Campbell takes his jet hydroplane Bluebird for a spin on Lake Coniston.
The Suez Canal, lifeline of Europe.
Every year I got a birthday card from this study. That was something my wee brother didn't get. And it made me think that there was somebody who was taking an interest in the kind of questions that I was answering.
I think it's contributed to understanding of how lives develop.
We were finding new things. We had facilities to do it, and we could draw on experts around the country and abroad, all working together for the common cause.
It's been one of the most influential pools of data that possibly the world has ever seen.
The National Child Development Study is a study that began in 1958. It's a nationally representative birth cohort study, and it's the second oldest of the birth cohort studies in the UK. People at that time were extremely concerned about the very high rates of infant mortality in this country, and it was decided to do a medical study of all babies born in a single week to understand what were the driving factors behind those very high rates of infant death.
The major advantage of the study was its size and its representativeness. The children were all born in 1 week across the UK, and the size, about 17,000, meant that there were some very interesting subgroups that you could study with sufficient numbers. So that was something that had been very difficult to do on a population-wide basis.
The key moment in the study came when it was decided to find all the children now that they'd started school when they were 7.
They were followed up through the school system, simply tracing all the children with birthdays in that 1 week.
These studies enable you to follow people's lives from birth right through, so you can confidently generalise about the population from that. This was one of its great strengths.
All the children took part in all kinds of cognitive tests to measure their ability in reading and maths, and parents started answering questions about other aspects of their lives, like their employment and their own health. When the cohort members became adults, we started systematically asking many different questions of them than they'd ever answered before.
Nobody thought at that time that smoking in pregnancy would make a blind bit of difference to the child. That was a very, very important piece of information. As a result of the Ncds findings, public policy changed. There are far fewer women nowadays smoking in pregnancy, and that has to be good, not only for the women who were smoking anyway, but of their children, and possibly even their grandchildren.
It pointed to the problem of a rising literacy and numeracy difficulty that hadn't been spotted before. But also it began to identify the reasons for this, who it was who were failing to learn as children the rudiments of reading and particularly numeracy, where the problem arose and what could be done to solve it.
There was good information on social class. Without doing any sophisticated statistical analysis, a little booklet called Born to Fail was produced in the early 1970s. It just looked at the association between educational performance and also physical growth and social background. Things which I think now most people would take for granted. It was not taken for granted then. It made an enormous difference. It brought to people's attention what was going on in society.